All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the fantasy. No, sorry, I was about to say fantasy football scout. Welcome to. Oh no, is it too loud? Okay, sorry, man. Welcome to the football chatbox FPL podcast game week 10, episode 11. I've got Rushant with me today, and we're going to be talking about midfielders. After this week in game week's 9 performance, we had 11 midfielders getting double-digit returns. Compared to maybe only 2 forwards and I think 4 or 5 defenders who got double-digit returns this week. So we're going to be talking about midfielders heavy. And the agenda for today is basically we'll look at our teams, season ticker, game week 10 fixtures. We're already almost quarter of a season done. So we'll look at a few stats in terms of expected goals and expected goals conceded for teams, and then the attacking defenders. We'll look at Chelsea defenders as well, because it looks like a lot of Chelsea points are coming from their defenders. Midfield players, we'll talk about Manchester City as well, and which kind of players might be good options to get. We'll look at the forwards, and then end it off with price changes and the combined team. Having said all of that, big game week for me.
Oh, mate, monster game week for you. What was your overall game week rank? 4,800. Holy crap. Good.
Oh yeah, insane. It took me all the way up to 10, 9, 12 rank, so massive increase for me. Although to be honest, it did kind of well. I guess it kind of paid off. The only thing I was a bit disappointed was Rafinha came off injured. But apart from that, and then Cancelo lost his clean sheet, obviously, in the last few minutes with Ederson trying to do something stupid. Yeah. I was a bit shocked that Sanchez managed to get less points than Foster.
Yeah. Wait, no.
After getting beat 4-1.
You mean Sanchez got more points, right?
Yeah.
I think
after getting beat 4-1, I was like, what?
I think this is the way FPL scoring works, right? Even like, who was the other keeper? I think Raya, he only got 2 points as well. Did he get Raya get points?
Yeah.
But I think Brighton obviously got smashed 3-1 on paper. They got destroyed, but the keeper still managed to get 4 points. Is insane the way FPL scoring works. Yeah. But this is where I guess all those bonus points come into play, right? We talked about this in terms of selecting the goalkeepers, and we kind of didn't think Sanchez was capable because we always assumed he's either a 6 or a 1. But exactly. He definitely proved a lot of people wrong and kind of helped the majority of the people. So that was good for those who are Sanchez. But
yeah. So for benefit of podcast, I got 129 points. Foster in goal, Livramento, man, what a genius. For 4.3 million or whatever, he's absolutely worth it. Cancelo, James, Trent, backline, and Smith Rowe, Rafinha, Foden, Salah captain, Hwang, who came off the bench for Lukaku, and Antonio. Didn't take any hits. So that was my team. Not too bad. Not too shabby as well. Hopefully I can get in the top 10k.
I'll getting that every week, man. You'll be freaking like top 1,000.
We'll see. Up next, Rushant, 83 points. For benefit of the podcast, Sanchez in net. He had Livramento, Cancelo, Alonso didn't start. Demari Gray, Rafinha, Mbeumo, Salah captain, Heung-min Son, Jimenez, and Antonio.
Yeah, I think Livramento came off the bench was good. Alonso, I knew I had to keep him 1 more week, and I just couldn't. I got him in at a good price. I already cashed in on his extra 100k price rise. I wasn't too fussed, but I'm like, okay, fine. If I don't get his 0 points this week, I just didn't think it was worth getting in a -4. But now thinking about it, if I did swap him over to literally any other Chelsea defender, I would have seen a positive return this week. So still have ifs and buts. I guess Salah was just what a genius. Holy crap. Like, he's just.
I think we were lucky. All of us were lucky to get that many points. Yeah. Although I did expect points. I didn't expect that many.
I don't think anyone did. And he's a freak. Like, he's going on some kind of a record. And yeah, I think if he goes at his current rate, he's going to be fixture proof. And I think you discussed about this in the past as well, that should be perma captain Salah going forward as well. So I think that's something strongly to consider. I think my transfers for the week, I did 2 transfers, one for points as well. I brought in Son to take advantage of a price rise, and I also brought in Mbeumo early in the week. Yeah, that's my 2.
I mean, it's not too bad. Still pretty good fixtures. And Son facing United, given the state of United's defense,
Yeah, yeah. So,
could benefit.
exactly.
Yeah. With regards to so there were concerns of Rafinha and Mbeumo in terms of their injuries. Mbeumo, apparently he should be okay. Maybe we'll have to wait and see for the presser, but they've said it's not too bad. I think, but we'll see. In terms of Rafinha, Bielsa has said that Rafinha should be good, and that him not playing in the cup game this week shouldn't have impacted his upcoming game. So Rafinha hopefully should be good going
That'll be
ahead.
good. They play Norwich as well. I think it should be a very, very prime. I mean, if he was fit, he's definitely a prime captaincy option in the sense that against the West defense or West team in the league right now. But yeah, I think I'm just hoping he's recovered from injury, but seems like his injury is going to be recurring, and I don't think he'll ever be back to 100%. But it'll still be good to get some points.
Yeah, that's what. So we're hoping for some points after Chelsea's performance against Norwich. So yeah, don't worry too much if anyone who has them. In terms of people who, because I saw a lot of stuff in the community with regards to people being a bit down that they didn't captain Salah and went for Havertz captain, and it backfired big time, or went for Vardy captain, backfired big time. Don't have to worry too much because the majority of people still own Salah. So you basically lost out on about 20 points only, which can be caught up in a game week or two, which is not an issue. It's just that if you don't have Salah, then you're doing something wrong. I think you should get Salah at this stage.
And I think the funny thing was Havertz actually scored in the Carabao Cup this morning.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, really need to rub it into those fantasy managers who actually brought him in and captained him. But yeah, it's crazy.
But he's still a decent pick. If you have him, I wouldn't get rid of him against Newcastle. Might keep him for one more game week, see how it goes. But yeah, this is the season ticker. Norwich right up there, but to be honest, that should be Norwich. It's just giving us an indication of what teams we should pick to target them. Followed by Brentford, Leeds, Spurs, Burnley, Newcastle. At the bottom, we've got Arsenal, United, Everton, Watford, and West Ham. So a lot of people with Antonio in their team. Antonio scored on the weekend, and then I went, maybe this is why we don't get rid of Antonio. United conceded 11 goals in a week, and I'm like, do we target them? But they're going against a Spurs team that aren't looking great as well.
Yeah.
But at this point, I look at Son and I'm like, Son could potentially do some damage. Even if Spurs don't do damage, Son could potentially do damage.
Yeah, the thing with United is like it's hard. Like obviously now there's so much of pressure on the manager.
Yeah. It looks like he's getting the Spurs game.
He's getting the Spurs game, which could be his do or die game. And United, I mean, being a United fan, will be very biased by this, but they tend to bounce back from these kind of situations that when we least expect it. Like I feel like if they were to play an easier fixture, like Watford now, for example, they probably lose. But when they play those good teams, something switches on, and they do have world-class players. We can't forget the fact that they do have world-class attackers, right? The defense is garbage. Let's not talk about that. But they got the
attack is still there
to create, and they got Ronaldo in the team now, which is a big change. So I haven't given hope. I haven't given up hope. And they did go against Liverpool, who's probably like in top contention right now to win the league in the form.
Oh yeah, Liverpool are another level at the moment.
After they beat City and United in back-to-back games. So
yeah,
I think that game, yes, was really, really bad. It did pull down a lot of FPL managers away from those United assets. But I'm as a United fan hoping for a rebound, which I should hopefully start seeing soon. But yeah, it's just a matter of wait and see, I guess, with United players.
So that's the season ticker. Up next, fixtures. Now I do this in the captaincy video, and basically I look at the last 4 game weeks worth of stats in terms of expected goals and expected goals conceded. So teams in red are basically bottom 4. So you can kind of like see Norwich bottom 4 for both attack and defense. United bottom 4 for defense. United actually last in terms of defense, expected goals conceded. And then Liverpool, insane attack at the moment. City, really good attack, really good defense. But in terms of captaincy option, right? like we mentioned, Salah perma captain. Salah captain this week for sure.
He's a very, very good candidate, obviously, I think.
Yeah, against a Brighton team that's decent, not too bad, but did concede 4 against City.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Any other options you would give?
I think City is also like a team we can't avoid right now, and Chelsea and the way they've been playing, they're in red hot form. I think in terms of teams, I'm probably looking at one of those sort of top 4 teams right now, rather than
Yep.
when it comes down to players, then I guess it's depending on who's going to start and who's going to play, because that's the problem you have with teams like City and Chelsea, especially. You just don't know. You have Mason Mount scoring 24 points one week, and that's after blanking 8 game weeks in a row. So,
Yeah, that.
yeah, I think the safe pick is still Salah because he's proven it. He's proven scoring and he's in red hot form. I think majority would still go with Salah because he just ride the form, really. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason why you should doubt him to blank now.
Yeah, fair
After
enough.
he
Cool.
scored against the top team. So,
So now this is something I was looking at today, which is basically, it says over and under, but what I've done is I've taken the entire season so far in terms of stats, looked at their assists that they've got, the expected assists that they were supposed to get, and then looked at the difference between the two. The same thing I've done for goals and goals conceded. Chelsea right on top. I've sorted this by expected goals delta, so basically the difference. So look, Chelsea have scored 23. Their expected goals non-penalty is here, and the expected goals delta, which is goals minus expected goals, which means they've got 8 more than they should have got, and they have conceded, in terms of expected goals considered, they were expected to concede 10 goals by now. They've conceded only 3, so they're significantly overperforming. Or Mendy is just insanely good, one of the two. But yeah, they are out of defense. They are probably significantly overperforming. Another team I've highlighted is City. City seem to be very consistent in terms of their numbers. They are like kind of outputting what they are expected to, and defense also, it's almost similar, not too low as well. Another one is Brentford. I've highlighted Brentford here are underperforming their stats. So going into the next few games where the fixtures turn
but
easy.
the problem for me right now, I mean, I agree with you in terms of Brentford with Raya's injury right now.
Yeah, that's the only one
big
issue.
thing I'm a bit concerned now as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty much you're getting the substitute goalkeeper now, which
and is he as good as Raya?
Exactly, that's the big question. No one even knows. I'm sure everyone has to go and check who the substitute goalkeeper is. No one knows who the substitute goalkeeper is.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Brentford.
Because we've seen Liverpool, right? Liverpool lose Alisson, and then it's a massive gap in terms of their defense.
Huge. And you saw that last season. You saw that really last season where they were trash.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Trash.
So that's one thing, and he's out for a long time as well.
He's out
4 to 5 months. So
he's out for the season pretty much.
Yeah, that's what. So basically, it's going to be like they have underperformed, but with the change of goalkeeper, now will their defense be as strong as what it was? Or
I don't know. The defense isn't too bad. I mean, it'll be a wait and see. I think that'll be. But I do know a lot of people already have Raya, so that's going to be an option for them is to let's transfer out.
Yeah, that's what. So a lot. Something people might be looking to go back to either Ramsdale or Sanchez. Talking about Ramsdale, Ben White is also injured.
This week hasn't been good for FPL, huh? So many injuries, so many injury designations. Yeah, I saw that.
I saw a post on Twitter, and one guy was like, "There's more flags in my team than the United Nations."
Yeah, it's actually true because there's a couple. Isn't Mari out as well for Chelsea? Sorry, for Arsenal. Mari out and Ben White's out as well. So there's a lot of people. Yeah.
So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know how it's going to impact. We'll see how it goes. Another one team I highlighted is Southampton. Now, they've underperformed their attack recently. Defense seems to be kind of what's expected. So Livramento as a owner, pretty good option to keep. Best fifth choice. Yeah, exactly. He is the John Lundstrom, best fifth choice defender that you can have.
Might not be a fifth choice anymore. Who knows? He might just be a start.
Fourth choice. Should be starting. Yeah, I mean the fixtures are pretty good.
Pretty good, and he's rising up 4.4 now. I think it's good enough. It'll be close to even more expensive than some of your other starting who you consider your starting defenders. So
yeah, and in forward. Southampton, Adam Broha.
Roger, yeah, Broha.
Broja, sorry. Yeah. He's been performing pretty good recently.
Correct. But did he get injured now? Is that what happened?
Did he? I
Because
don't
I
know. I
know,
think so. I'm not sure.
because I mean, there was obviously this talk about Armstrong becoming the next sensation, and then he got
Yeah.
dropped one game, and Broja came in and
Yeah, that's what. And he's been
he scored two
performing well.
goals as well in a couple of games.
Yeah.
So, last I saw that he was injured, he's got injury status right now. I don't know if that means anything or is there still an update to come, but yeah, he's definitely interesting pick at 5 million as well.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
awesome.
interesting.
So good price option for starting and scoring goals. So will be interesting. Now let's get into defenders because this is where I think Rushant, his squad needs a bit of surgery. I've sorted this by expected goal involvement in the last 4 game weeks, and I've highlighted there. You got Aspie, Chilwell, Rudiger, 3 Chelsea defenders in the top 20 for expected goal involvement. And then I've highlighted Livramento also. He's in there. Cancelo is in there. Trent, you don't have Trent at the moment. Trent has managed to somehow climb back up again. And then on the top, I've got the Pinnock is there, but now with Rhea injured, we don't know what's going to happen to Brentford, so might keep watch out. Richie is always on this table, but he never returns anything else. So apart from being very expected, lively performance, but no returns. Anyone interested in you?
Pretty much everyone there actually. There's got no one in my team. So yeah, I think the Chelsea defense is definitely something you have to have now. I think at this point in time, it's kind of an essential in your team. If you haven't had them, I just think that they've been playing at such a good defensive level. You saw their stats in terms of the goals conceded. It's time that we've had so many weeks and we've seen the returns, especially that 7-0 game last week where pretty much every single defender had returns. It's insane. So I think, yeah, I mean, I've got one Chelsea defender now, obviously. There is a good, I mean, I was one of those managers who transferred out Trent, game week 7 or 8. And now I do feel the pain of trying to find a way to bring him back.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not as easy as I thought it was. I'm clearly, I thought I had a plan in mind of bringing him back in like game week 12, but it might be too late. So
yeah, he's already gone up in price.
Yeah, I think I'm not too concerned in the sense that I'll probably have to address a few other issues in my team right now with my injury destination stuff as well. But yeah, I think in terms of defense, you got a fair amount of choices. I know Cresswell was one which kind of interested me as well because he obviously kept a clean sheet last game. And he's on the radar, but he's not. He's always been a good fantasy asset because he's on set pieces and stuff as well. But he's kind of been underlooked this season merely for the fact that there's Chelsea and Man City defenders are performing. So I think when that kind of I guess the tension also it kind of dies down, then you're gonna start looking at other teams. And I think Cresswell he's always been a good. I've always been a big fan of him.
The only problem with that is West Ham's fixtures upcoming are not great.
True. Not for the short run, but
he's usually a good FPL asset.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Livramento, obviously, I think we talked about it. He scored a goal now, which means he's going to have a lot more appeal for those who were kind of skeptical. But he had already given us a lot of returns, even if he's not, scoring. Because and Southampton have been much better defensively this season compared to last.
Another thing I saw on Twitter today was James Justin for Leicester could be back in training. And last season, he was insane when he played. So something to keep an eye on for managers.
100%.
Yeah. So that's the defenders. Now, we spoke about Chelsea defenders, right? So Chelsea defenders, I've taken the Chelsea defenders here and sorted it by expected goal involvement. Azpilicueta obviously got rested, but I most likely expect him to start this upcoming week. Can't see him going 3 games rested. So he has 72 overall points. This is the entire season stats. 2 shots inside the box, 2 big chances created, and 6 chances created. He's fine. Alonso, we believe Alonso has basically lost his place as the starting left back. And Chilwell is on there right now, who has kind of got 3 goals in 3 games, and is continuing to rise in price. And the one thing I've noticed with Tuchel is that he doesn't really sub out his left back compared to his right back. And Rich James is on that side as well. Rich James is really good for value. I think he's a good option, but he comes with that annoying cameo appearances that he can do because he can play both right centre back and right wing back.
100%. I think if like at this stage, if I had the option of choosing my Chelsea defenders, I'd probably go with Chilwell and Rudiger, mainly for the fact that they are guaranteed to start at this point. I think even if Chilwell is rested one game, he's still the starting left back right now. He's kind of secured that position again. And Rudiger just doesn't get dropped unless he's severely injured. Yeah, I think Reece James has good value, but you're right, like Azpilicueta always finds a way to play in that right back role or centre back. So yeah, I think honestly you can't go wrong with any of these guys you got here, and if they play, you're guaranteed to get some good points.
And Rudiger, man, I was watching that game and he just keeps bombing forward.
It's insane.
Like he has look at this, right? He has 6 shots inside the box, and he's tied with Chilwell and Alonso. And the guy's a centre back.
He's insane. And one other guy it's unfortunate, but Chalobah, 44 points in 5 starts for a guy who is probably their 6th option in defense, or 7th option, really. I mean, Thiago Silva and Christensen aren't even like playing because they're sort of not required right now. But this Chelsea defense is like pretty stacked. They're
4 points.
They're super stacked. Like it's insane. It's insane.
It's just a matter of which defender you can get. I guess Rudiger is the confirmed, most likely assured starter with less of a ceiling compared to maybe a Chilwell or a James.
Well, but I still think Rudiger is a big threat, though. I think he's always creating chances and he's attacking. You see him at the most random time where he's just. I watched one game and he was literally right behind Lukaku. I was like, "What are you doing there? Aren't you a centre back? Like, go back to your box."
But then that's what you said for Chilwell. He's playing up front like
it's crazy. So yeah. Chelsea, I think they've Tuchel's like to transform just like defenders into like all attackers right now. It's insane. Like
and his attackers are no
Lukaku
longer
pretty much just holding
required.
Holding his position in the bench or in the sideline because injured.
That's what. All right. So if you were to pick 2, you would go Rudiger and Chilwell at the moment.
100%. I think at this particular time, I just think there's more assurance of their starts and their form, really.
Yep, agreed. So that's Chelsea defenders we've had a look at. And obviously we said don't double up, but they are just becoming too hard to ignore with the amount of points they're returning. So a double up in Chelsea defense can't go wrong, especially with their fixtures still being decent. So that's defense. Let's move on to midfield because there was 11 players who returned double digits this week. And this is sorted by XGI. And this is the top 15 from the last 4 game weeks. Salah just right on top of there, clear past anyone else there is. So we're just going to ignore Salah. If you don't have Salah right now, I don't know what you're doing, getting him in. But we're going to look at the rest, right? So Foden is there. Heung-min Son I've highlighted. Mount is also there in that list. Bruno Fernandes. This guy is still returning numbers, but United aren't performing. So maybe one to keep an eye out for when United's fixtures turn for better. Bernardo Silva in there, another City player, who seems to have I wouldn't say locked down because no one locks down their spot in Pep Guardiola's team, but is offering returns. Mbemo is also there, I've highlighted. Someone interesting I highlighted, Yuri Olisko's Screamers Tielemans. 10 points back to back. Seems to be getting forward a lot. 12 chances created, 11 goal attempts. Interested by him? Oh
yeah, I mean, I guess in just general midfielders, I mean, I feel like getting your midfielders right is like the best thing you can ever. I feel like as an FPL manager, you feel most happy when your midfielders all deliver because you have the defensive aspect of it and you have the attacking aspects of it as well. And when they score big. Like that's why you have these big points in midfielders. And even last season and stuff, we always saw that 5 midfielders were a norm. At one point it becomes a norm having those top 5 investments. Like we saw the likes of Salah, Son, Bruno, De Bruyne, even like all 4, like all in midfield last season because they do provide that extra edge. They do provide that extra attacking threat. So I think nailing down your midfielders is like very, very important. And I think now is the time for us to switch our focus away from those 3 forward lines to the midfielders. So yeah, coming to midfielders as well, I think you're right. You just can't go ahead going forward without Salah. I mean, for those 30% of the population who don't have Salah,
I know, right?
they're just probably just recreational players. So, but yeah, I think yeah, City players, if you get them right, we had the same problem with Pep last season. If you get them right, you'll get the returns. Foden seems like he's actually a bit more nailed on this season because with Aguero
He's
gone,
playing the center forward.
exactly. With Aguero gone, and he's an up and coming player. You know, he's getting he's playing like he's been playing forever. He's playing very maturely, and for his age, he can play. You know, what I mean.
Hmm.
And he showed that last week as well. So I think he'll be a very, very attractive option. And only 8.1, it's actually a bargain for his standard.
Yeah. For someone, if you were to say you have an 8.1 player playing striker or false nine, whatever, for Manchester City, you'd probably take it.
100%. And plus a midfielder as well.
Yeah. The only thing is, so Foden is also boosted by the fact that Ferran Torres is out injured for some time, which kind of helps his spot. So I went and checked like Foden in terms of history, and I checked last season, right, to see whether does this guy, like, how often did he get benched and everything. So I think he got benched about 10 times, didn't come on. He had 28 appearances, 11 of them he came on as a sub. So that's not really great because there are a few times when because he comes on like 20 minutes to play or something like that whenever he comes on. But then I went into it further to see when he got benched and all of that.
Yep.
And he mostly gets benched before a big Champions League game, either before or after a big Champions League game. So he was ever present in City's Champions League fixtures, but just before or after a big Champions League game that he used to get benched.
Yep.
It's either that, or if there are 3 Premier League games in a week, then he got benched for like the midweek one if it was an easy game.
Okay.
So that's when he got benched. So most of the time. So that means he is a really key player for Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, 100%. And you can see that, right? I mean, his priority, Pep, like prioritizing him for Champions League shows that how much value he has towards him. And, you know, it's about making sure he's there for the big games.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, based on City's upcoming fixtures, right? They've got Crystal Palace, United, Everton, West Ham, Aston Villa, and Watford. I think he might get benched for the Everton game because they have PSG in between, just after that, I think. So that's the one area I can see him getting benched. I can't see him getting benched against United or West Ham because after the PSG game, there isn't like West Ham he can probably play. Crystal Palace will probably play because, I mean,
Yep.
there's no reason to not bench him because they're playing Club Brugge next, and I don't think he'll bench him for Crystal Palace and then play him for Bruges and then United at the same time in the same week if he's ever going to do that. So probably Everton he gets benched, but apart from that, I can see him starting at least out of the next 5. He can start the other side.
If only we knew what was happening in the mind of Pep Guardiola.
I know, right?
The top 1K I would triple up with Man City players every week.
Yeah. Any other players that interest you
I think
on this?
Yeah, I mean Mbeumo is again a big target at 5.6. And with the fixtures turning for Brentford, everyone was hoping he'll deliver. Unfortunately, his injury status is kind of giving a bit of concern for managers. But I'm hoping because I think the week before he had the most goal attempts or something. Was it like 8?
He's hit the woodwork for about 6 times or 7 times this season as well. So
he's
it's
so
insane.
close, and he's he's playing as a striker, right? As a striker at 5.6, really, he's such a striker. So he's definitely one. And you mentioned about Tielemans as well. So I think Leicester's focus this season has shifted from last season's Barnes, Maddison, Iheanacho to back to Vardy now being that primary attacker. And Tielemans seems to be the midfielder who's benefited from that. And he's delivering. He's quietly delivering again. You know, you saw that he's contributing, giving returns a couple of weeks. I still don't have confidence in bringing Tielemans in right now, mainly for the fact that Leicester's midfield is still stacked. They got other players who have contributed and who can contribute. It's kind of like you have the same issue with United in a way, because Leicester's attack, if you look at it, is actually not that bad. You know, they've got a lot of attacking players who are capable of producing and assisting with Maddison, Barnes, Iheanacho. Iosi Perez and everyone. So it's kind of like United in a way when you have it's like should you
Yeah.
bring in Pogba when you have a Rashford and a Greenwood and Bruno and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's kind of the mentality I'm in. Obviously, it's much cheaper, but yeah, I still think that it really depends on your funds available and what sort of balance you want to go with your midfield. But at 6.4, he's not a bad shout.
Fair enough. So let's move on. Manchester City. I got a few Manchester City players here to kind of highlight it. Foden, as you can see, right on top of the Manchester City players in terms of XGI. This is, I believe, I took the entire season's matches, if I'm not mistaken, or it might have been last four. Bernardo Silva just behind that. Gundogan is also there. De Bruyne also in that list as well. Grealish just below, but Cancelo as a defender on there. Laporte and Ruben Dias also there. Um, if you were to pick Manchester City players, right? How many would you go for, and who would it be, based on all of this?
Well, if it was a perfect world where I didn't have Salah, I'd probably go for three sleepers, to be
Yep,
honest.
yep,
Probably either a Cancelo or Diaz as my defender. I would go with De Bruyne. I actually love De Bruyne a lot. I feel like if he's
mm,
playing, he's so underrated, and he's
mm,
$12 million for a reason. He's not just overly priced there. He's a quality player.
mm,
When he plays, he's a must-have. When he's
yeah,
in his good form, he's got potential to have big game weeks. He's on set pieces, he's on pens, and he's just a very good player. He's one of the best players in the Premier League.
yeah,
And on top of that, I think now if you want to look for the mid-range option, I would probably mix it up with a Foden. So yeah, I would go probably Foden, De Bruyne, and either a Cancelo or a Diaz.
yep.
If
Fair
I'm
enough. Because that's it. Right? De Bruyne has 7 shots inside the box, which is the third highest. Jesus is 8 and 4 and 12,
yeah,
and also like 10 chances created, 3 big chances created.
yeah,
He is a really good player.
he's
It's
very
just matter of
You
getting.
go who would your three be if you were to pick it?
At the moment, if I was to go, I would go Cancelo, Foden, and then probably De Bruyne. But then the only thing is fitting De Bruyne in is not an easy task as
Correct.
well. And because of that, I'll probably stick with the two
Yep.
in terms of Cancelo and Foden. But if De Bruyne showed the promise, like in terms of returning, like how he did like 2 seasons ago,
Yep.
then he'll probably be an option.
Yep.
So that's Manchester City. Forward players. Now, forward players have not been performing that much this past few weeks, or especially like the premium ones. And it's kind of like giving us, oh, okay, maybe we can move our funds to midfield now, or even at the back, probably if you want to go big at the back for people. Antonio, the only one delivering in that forward line. I've highlighted Vardy. Brendan Rodgers said that Vardy had apparently a knock and he wanted to give him one half to see whether he can do it, but he couldn't do it, so he bought him off, which didn't help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can see my
Um,
frustration is who my transfer this week was.
yeah,
Um,
so not really. We'll see if he's going to be fit or not upcoming week. I don't know. But they do have Patterson Daka as well, so they have a decent
he scored
replacement.
4 goals in
Mm,
Europa as well. He scored last weekend as well. So
yeah,
yeah, the thing with Leicester, I mean, there's so many players coming back and they have a pretty deep team. So I think Vardy, if he's injured, it'll
yeah,
open up Ian Archer as well. Can't
mm,
forget. So
yeah,
but yeah, I think apart from Antonio, who's pretty much the only sort of template player in a way.
mm,
Yeah, attacks forwards are pretty much open, really. Wang Hee Chan has been delivering.
yeah,
Um, I have Jimenez, who has a bit of up and down. He's been giving me sort of a little bit here and there, not the differential player I've been hoping he has been, but he's been giving a few points. And yeah, I guess now looking forward, you're really going to look at players like Tony, whose fixtures are turning, and
mm,
well, Cristiano Ronaldo's in third from the bottom, but
yeah.
as,
I mean, this is top 15 anyways out of the entire forwards. The only problem with Ronaldo is that there is no service for him,
correct.
which is not helping him. But he still had like 12 goal attempts, which is significantly higher than a lot of people here. The only problem is if he had more service, I think he'll be a really good option. But fixtures are not good for United, so I'll probably wait because I think Ronaldo can reduce in price a bit more.
Yep.
Yeah, and also you can do so much more with the money when you don't have Ronaldo
Oh,
at the moment.
100%.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you got Josh King, who's got a hat trick.
Mm,
I'm kind of He's good at 5.5, but I haven't seen much. I'll be interested in watching at Watford. They did get a new manager. Um,
Ranieri,
yeah.
come back 5-0.
You never know. I feel like usually when teams have these managerial changes and they go for a good comeback win like they did, which is pretty amazing.
Hmm.
They're very, very interesting to watch, and they can surprise a lot of teams with this new managerial change because a new manager lights up the change room and there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
energy, and so yeah, there's
We'll see what Watford do. Anyways, very be interesting. Aubameyang in there. Thoughts on Aubameyang? Eh,
yeah. I mean,
okay.
look,
Uh,
okay. I think he played really well last game.
yeah.
Arsenal really like they're back on the rebound now. Compared to where how they started off, I think they've really turned around. So I'm just hoping Ole goes to something like that, so he has to keep his job like Arteta right now. But no, Aubameyang is still playing good. I just think again, at his price point and the way you plan your team. Look, if you have stuff like he actually wouldn't be the worst of the options because you have Lukaku injured, you got Vardy potentially injured, you got Ronaldo who's not really delivering
Mm,
his team. I mean, there's fixtures as well, and you got Kane who's just been in awful form so far. You're looking
Kane
at
doesn't even want to be there.
and then you got the
Yeah.
next most premium forward, which is Aubameyang.
Yeah.
You eliminated the people who are more expensive than him. There's literally no one else more premium than him. Which kind of begs the difference. Well, is he really a bad option? I don't think so. I feel like he might
Mm,
actually be a decent option, and he's on everything. He's their main player. He's pretty much
yeah.
on. Lacazette's not getting much action. He's on pens. He's a good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah. Fair enough. Final question for forwards. Would you keep Antonio up in their upcoming tough fixture run after the Aston Villa game?
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting question. I just think that yeah, I think Antonio right now will be is it's going to be like okay, is he going to be a long term? It depends, right? Do I want him in my team after game week 15, or do I want
Mm,
him out now and forget about him? Uh, Benefits of keeping him right now is I don't lose out on that extra
that value.
300
Yeah.
price. He's at
Yeah.
8.2 now from 7.5, so that's going to be
Yeah.
huge. And really, the question is you're dropping a player because you think he's not going to score against these players, right? And especially the forward. Looking at these teams he's playing, I mean, at the red hot form in the sense that he's been scoring against big teams, apart from the Liverpool and City games and probably Chelsea, those three games, other three games is scoreable.
Mm,
Villa lost big last week or week before.
yeah.
And he's a quality player. So if I was to look past the game of 15 and the easy fixture run after, I don't think I'll drop him. I just really
Fair enough.
not a
Yeah.
real
And
but it's definitely a
give,
topic of debate, really. It's
yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
something to be debated.
The other thing is, given the amount of flags that we're having in our teams, Antonio is the least of our worries right now.
True. And I think this is
Yeah.
something I decided in the beginning as well. Like, after the first few games, I'm like, okay, this is the player we're going to keep for the rest of the season. Like, he's going to be
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
underdog world player. And now obviously you
Yeah.
got Salah as well, which is way more easier
Yeah.
to decide. But um,
Yeah. True.
yeah,
Cool. All right. So price changes. Let's go into some price changes. We've got a few players who are rising. Let me just make sure that it gets onto the team as well. All right. So we got Tony possibly rising, Cancelo, James, Mendy, Foden, Chilwell. Although so this was also set for tonight, yesterday as well. But I think there's a few wildcard players as well that's in here, which it doesn't consider. And for wildcard, price doesn't rise. Or prices aren't considered in terms of price rise. So something to consider. But they are in terms of a rise. Mason Mount is on here as well. We didn't talk about Mason Mount. Now, Mason Mount isn't. I think he himself would have been surprised that he got a hat trick. I don't think he's going to get a hat trick again. And he's definitely not going to take a penalty again because when Jorginho is on the pitch, Jorginho is taking
yeah,
it. Or Lukaku or whoever else is on the pitch. And Mason Mount missed a penalty today as well
yeah.
in the cup game. So he's definitely not taking those penalties. And one thing I noticed is I checked his history last season. He only ever got one double figure return. Sorry, I don't know if it's a double figure because I don't know about the bonus points, but double goal return against West Brom. We had a goal and assist. So he's not going to do that again,
Yeah.
most likely.
He's one of those players who
Um,
looks really good and he's very attacking. I think he's critical for build-up plays, but he's just
Yeah.
not. He hasn't given that consistent FPL returns that people want.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But he, for 7.5, is a decent option into the Chelsea attack,
true.
especially that Lukaku is not there, Werner is not there, no Pulisic or anyone. But for anyone getting Mount, I think he's a good player, but don't expect 20 points
Everybody.
returns.
No.
Yeah.
Don't expect any player
Um,
because you're not going to get that from any player.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Right now.
So those are the price rises. I don't know about any falls. Not Ronaldo is falling again. See, okay. So we just continue to wait for Ronaldo to fall, and then come game week 14, he'll be like 12 million and affordable. All right. So those are price changes. Keep in mind. Let's finally end it off with the combined managers teams. And we have 2 transfers to make. We are on 83 points we got last week. Not too bad.
Cool.
I captained Salah.
Good.
And I bought in Tony because we had a transfer to burn and I didn't know what to do, so I bought in Tony.
Well, this team looks very similar to mine.
Oh, okay, so I guess now you can make a decision. We have 2 transfers.
Right. Okay.
Alonso has to go.
Probably a bit of money in our bank as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alonso's got to go. I'll be inclined to get rid of even Tomiyasu. Or are we going to be keeping? Oh, look, I'm up to you really. But okay, let's talk about
Zaha maybe to get rid of.
How's Crystal Palace's fixtures coming up?
It's not the best. And Zaha is like he's City and then Wolves Burnley. It's all right, not too. I think we can do better.
After the City game, they do get kind of better,
right? Wolves and Burnley.
Yep. And
yeah, it's a decent fixture set. It's just that I'm not sure whether how fit he is. He should be fit now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can get rid of Zaha if you want to.
We'll see who else is there. Well, okay, let's say we got rid of Alonso.
I can bring in a straight Chelsea defender. Let's not play around. Let's bring in the players we talked about early in the podcast. Really go Chilwell, yeah.
Let's go with Chilwell. High upside. Now we have 5.2. Now we could go for a midfielder or we could go for a forward even if needed, but I don't see anyone in the forward lines that's
I'd be inclined to because we have a lot of money in the bank. We could punt on a midfielder like De Bruyne rather than Son, or just because I feel like if you get rid of Zaha, you do have about like 12 million.
12. That's just enough for De Bruyne.
But again, it could be either that or Son, but Son still has 2 red fixtures on paper, but we know that the United game is probably like very, very light green.
Yeah, but then De Bruyne's fixtures do get a bit distinct.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, up to you. I'm happy bringing in Son. Or we could try someone else just for a bit of...
We could bring in Son and try and see what happens.
Yeah.
We could also go with Kane, but I don't think Kane has been showing anything that kind of like this.
Yeah, I feel like if I bring Son, that's going to be exactly my team.
You want to make it different?
Yeah, something different. Because I feel like then at least one team will blank, right? And if one team scores, what do we have? Is it too early to bring in Fernandes?
Maybe. It's a bit too early to bring in Fernandes. I think he has to finish the Chelsea game as well.
Yeah, of course.
Who
are you leaning towards? We're happy with the forward line, right? It's Vardy and Tony.
Yeah, I think like Vardy, we can just keep one more. We can see how it goes because we have enough value in Vardy as well. It's not too much of an issue. It's just a midfielder spot we can get.
You know who scored last week after I dropped him? Diego Jota.
Who? I know, right? But no, Firmino is an issue though.
He's huge.
That's the only thing I'm thinking.
I'm just saying he blanked every single game week until...
Oh yeah, and then I also got rid of him and now he scores. So yeah, and a double digit as well.
Yep, I had him all that single digit games. What about Foden?
We could actually try Foden.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, all right, let's go Foden. It gives us enough money to actually get other players as well if we need to later. So we'll make those 2 changes. And this is something I was going to tell and I forgot to tell. Mane did get rested last week, which means Salah could potentially get rested this week. Just keep in mind because Champions League is next week against Atletico Madrid. So make sure that you all have a good vice captain selected just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. We captain Salah. No questions about it.
Why not? Go for it.
Yeah. Anyone else we want to? Wemo, I'll just put here for sub because we don't know what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Ramsdale or Foster?
Oh, good point. I'll be actually planning to try Foster because of the fact that they are playing Southampton, who are iffy on defense. So I'm sorry on the attack. So yeah, happy
Cool.
with that.
All right, that's it. Cool. So that's basically it. Thank you all for watching. And thank you to Rushant as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hitting subscribe button, notifications, comment down below how your game week went, and let me know who you're captaining as well. If it's Salah, if it's not Salah, then it's fine. Okay. Thank you, Rushant, and we'll see you all on Friday for the team selection
See you
video.
guys.
Peace out,
See
everyone.
Ryan when he's on top 1,000 next week.
Oh yeah, hopefully let's see.